Hopefully this time it works. I had to switch views because it wasn't letting me. I think it's going to work this time. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, 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 welcome to the Brown Mama Blueprint podcast. I'm going to go ahead and invite some people to join. And then I'm going to add Amirah, who I'm pretty sure is on here now, who is going to be our guest for the night. So thank you for joining. Welcome. We are the Brown Mama Blueprint podcast is a podcast where we talk about the issues. We bridge the gap between black mothers, but we talk about the issues that black mothers face, and we just love on black moms. Everything, you guys know that everything I do is all about just empowering black mothers and helping black mothers to share their motherhood journeys and enjoy their motherhood journeys, because motherhood is not something that we should feel disdain about. And we know that black motherhood in particular has the tendency to have a lot of stereotypes around it. So my goal through the Brown Mama Blueprint podcast and everything that I do is to just erase those stereotypes and to get people to think differently about their motherhood journey, specifically to get black women to think differently about their motherhood journey. So that's what I'm all about. That is what I do. I see Amirah is on here, so hopefully I'm going to be able to add her. There it goes. Adding. So hopefully we can get her beautiful face on here and we can talk to her a little bit tonight. As everybody knows, and I'm going to have my just Michelle. Hey, Amirah.
It worked.
It worked finally. Praise God.
Oh my God.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I usually like to do it in the sideways view, but
yes,
it is life today.
Yes. I know, it's like literally life today, because you just got me also now you understand what I've been going through trying to get on onto you.
It's no worries. I'm always just like, listen, we just got to go with the flow. We just got to hang in there. Hold on. Everybody who ever watches me knows I'm very impromptu. I'm very, I just like to keep things copacetic. Sometimes I talk to my husband. Sometimes I yell at my kids.
Yeah.
And if you've ever watched Amirah on Periscope, you know that she also does the same.
Yeah. We're up there making noise, so I may do the same.
Look, it's life. It's life. So Amirah, while I ask my husband, Mikhail, can you hand me my book and my cards and stuff? Why don't you tell my audience a little bit about who you are? Hey Kia, let me just say hi to some of the moms. Hey Kia, hey Brianna, hey who else is on here? I see a whole bunch of people. Pam, hey everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is Amirah of Four Hats and Frugal. Well, before she introduces herself, let me just tell y'all how I know about Amirah. I know about Amirah because I met Amirah on Periscope when Periscope was like the new big thing, and I was on there as a blogger looking for information, just looking to get my whole blog life. Thank you, honey. And I came across Amirah's Periscopes, and I found myself being a regular on her Periscopes because she talks about family in a way that is practical, in a way that helps you to really understand how to get the financial dynamics in your household to work in a very practical way. And a lot of times when you think about family finance, you think about high finance, like what to do with my 401k, how to save for my children's education. All those things are great, but it is awesome when you can find somebody to tell you, look, just don't fry no chicken. If you just don't fry no chicken, you're going to save a whole lot of money. And that was one of the things that drew me to Amirah, because I was like, you know what, she's right. I'm spending too much money trying to fry this chicken. So Amirah, tell everybody about who you are and what you do. Thank you, honey.
Hi, everybody. My name is Amiyrah Martin, and I blog at fourhatsandfrugal.com, where we teach families how to have fun on a dime, how you could be a baller on a budget, and how to live a full life on less. And I've been doing that for over 10 years now.
Wow.
I have 3 children. So I'm married with 3 kids, a 13-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a soon-to-be 4-year-old. So our house is loud and busy, and you may hear the 4-year-old because he is refusing to go to bed. So just a heads up on that. And we do talk a lot about finance. Well, not a lot. We do a lot of personal finance, which Muffy she's spot on with how we love to talk about finance on our platform, because it's not always about the bigger things. It's about doing the small things to lead to the big things. So we talk about creating a basic budget. We talk about small little ways for you to save a little bit more money on your groceries. We talk about how we actually pay our kids when they do the things that they need to do in the house, and that they are paid like they work on a commission. So those are the types of things that we talk about, and it's all very family centered.
Absolutely. And just to let y'all know, just in case y'all don't know this, like Amiyrah is like a celebrity. She was in a Target commercial. So I was like, when I seen she was in the Target commercial, I was like, what am I over here doing? What is happening over here? How's she getting in this Target commercial? So I wanted you to, because you know, a lot of times when you tell people you're a blogger, did you see that State Farm commercial with the blogger?
I did.
With the girl who's the blogger. So when you tell people you're a blogger, it's like, oh, you have a hobby that you
Yes.
probably don't make any money from. But Amirah and her whole crew that she runs with, like, helped me to realize that it is actually possible to make money as a blogger, and that there are ways to be strategic about this thing. There are ways to create an income that can supplement, you know, your husband's income or even a bigger income stream that you may have. So can you tell us a little bit about your blogging journey? Like, how did you even come up with the idea of Four Hats and Frugal? Like, how did you get to where you are now?
Well, it started with accountability. So I was in, you guys remember forums? Back in the day, we were in forums, not here on Facebook. So I
Mm-hmm.
was in a forum where it was a bunch of ladies, and they basically taught me how to grocery shop and how to coupon and save money. I was a newly stay-at-home mom and pretty new to the whole wife thing and mother thing. All of it happened pretty much at the same time. And they taught me, okay, this is how you shop. This is how you save money. And because of that, I was learning quite a bit from them. And they told me that because of everything that I was sharing in the forums, I needed to start a blog. And I said, what's a blog? I don't know what that is. So they taught me, oh, it's an online journal. So you know how you come in here every day and you tell us what tried and what you tried and what didn't work and what did work. You're just going to go do that on the blog. And then we can all go over there and read what you're doing, and you can put up posts, you know, about the kids and the little photos or whatever you want to do so your family can read it as well. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. So basically that's how that started. Those ladies kind of encouraged me to use what I was learning and create this tiny little platform where other women who may be new moms or new wives, they can learn how to do these things that I'm learning for them, basically. So I'm trying out all the things, and then I can share all the things that work and don't work over on the blog. And that's really what my blog still is to this day. It's me trying out things for everyone. Saying, hey, this works, or hey, try it this way, or try this system if you don't have a lot of time. And then from that, I have all these opportunities just come up. Usually that's how that works. The more genuine you are, the more all these things just start popping into your life, and they pertain to the things that our family likes. We love Star Wars. That's our jam. We are obsessed. So the Target commercial came up because we're a Star Wars family, and they wanted to highlight a mom and a son, and an African American mom and a son particularly, and put them in a commercial. So my son and I got to do that. I do a lot of Disney stuff too. We love Disney. We love going to Disney World. That's our thing that we save up money for. So a lot of it was basically deciding what my foundation was going to be, and that is helping moms, and helping moms who are on a very tight budget realize that they don't have to live like they're in jail. They can do fun things, and here are the fun things you can do. And then from that, that's where my blog grew, and more people started to find it, and I started to really connect with a lot of women who just felt like, you know, I needed someone like you, and you are me, and I can see a lot of what I want to do and what I want to accomplish through the things that you're trying and you're sharing with us. So thank you so much for sharing. So as they're telling me this, I'm like, okay, then that means I can share more, and I share more. So I'm as transparent as possible as I can on my blog, just because when it comes to money and when it comes to growing a family, transparency is the way that we kind of need to be. We need to share what's working and what isn't, to just be open with each other and have that conversation, no matter how tough it can be.
And I think I always like to say, as a Black mother, like, transparency is the best gift we can give our community. You know, because especially as being a Black mom, as y'all know, everything I do is under the guise of Black motherhood and really strengthening communities that Black mothers create for each other. But blogging has become a way for Black mothers to really be transparent about what we're really going through in our day-to-day lives. And because, you know, Black communities oftentimes have these stigmas around talking, like you're not allowed to be up in, you know, they say don't be up in my business, but blogging kind of pushes past that. and says, it's okay, I'm gonna let you up in my business because it's important that you know, whether it be financially, whether it be in education, whether it be in my marriage, it's important that we begin to say to each other, this is what's working for me, this is what has not worked for me in the past, because oftentimes we don't do better because we don't know better. And
Right.
it's impossible to know better if nobody is sharing their stories.
Exactly.
And so I applaud you for, sharing your stories on your website, because it's just important that we do that, and that there are brown faces that are doing this, because often, when you go to a website or to a blog, it's not that their stories aren't relatable, it's that you cannot see yourself doing it.
Yes.
If sometimes there's not another brown face on the other end, because you begin to make assumptions. We all have stereotypes in our head. So we might go to a white mom's blog and she's blogging about something similar to you, about being frugal and about doing things on a budget. But because the face is not brown, it becomes difficult to see ourselves actually being able to engage in those behaviors. So thank you so much for doing that. One of the questions I wanted to ask, because in the Pittsburgh Brown Mamas group every year, I ask the question, at New Year's time, what do you want to accomplish for the year? And it never fails that 80% of the people say something that has to do with finances. They'll say, I want to buy a house, I want to get on a budget, I want to save money for my kid to go to college, whatever it is, but it's always financial. And like I said before, I love that you talk about practical ways to be financially fit. So I wanted to ask you if you would give us your top 2 things that a mom can do right now to begin to be a little bit more frugal in her life.
Okay, so number 1, predictable. Muffy's gonna go, of course she's gonna say this. You need to start working on your grocery budget. I'm telling you, everybody's like, no, mine is it's already so low, and how can I go? You can, just trust me, you can go lower. Groceries, food, basically in general, that's the thing that you need to cut first. A lot of if you talk to a financial analyst, a financial advisor, they're going to tell you that too. Look at your grocery budget, because that's where, as Americans especially, we love to say, you know what? I work so hard, I'm going to treat myself to this treat, and I'm going to upgrade to, the 80% ground beef. Like, this is what we do as Americans. Because we feel we deserve to eat gluttonously. Like, seriously, that's what it is. Your grocery budget is where you're going to find so many dollars, because literally all you can do is change a store. Like, you can go to your regular grocery store that you usually do, maybe start paying more attention to the sales that happen every week, only buy the things that are on sale, or you can take your grocery list that you usually take at your regular store and take it to another store, and that store may actually save you money. Like, it's that simple. It's just that you have to tell yourself, you know what? I'm going to find ways to save $5 more or $10 more. And if you're saving $10 more a week, that's $10 a week that you can put away to savings. That's $10 a week you can invest in stocks. That's $10 a week you can put in college savings for your kids and have it grow organically. That, it seems like a little bit, but really that's my number 1, is that grocery budget. Plain and simple, the grocery budget. Number 2, so number 2, this is gonna be interesting. Number 2 is going to be deciding if where you are living is conducive to your budget. I know. Oh, don't give me
Wait a minute. A lot of people are going to be like, I'm done listening to this. I'm logging off right now.
Don't give me the face. I know.
But you're telling the truth. Listen.
This is a difficult one for me to say, because this is something we had to do as a family. We moved from New Jersey to Ohio. We're now in Columbus, Ohio. And that was mostly because we had to pay attention to where we were and how much money we were putting out for a 2-bedroom apartment where we were. And that we could easily move our family 2 states away and have enough room for everyone and actually pay way less than what we were paying. And we are currently. The amount that we pay for a mortgage for our first home is surmountably less than what we paid for a 2-bedroom apartment in New Jersey, with no backyard, nothing. But we had to make that big decision, and we save so much money now because of that decision, that I kind of feel a little silly. Like, why didn't we do this a little bit sooner? Why didn't we do this when we could have gotten a house for even less money? But it's a hard decision, but it is a decision where if you think about it and you look at your budget and you go, I'm spending 50% of my budget on where I live. That's not how it's supposed to be, especially being an African-American family. You have to start making really wise choices about your money. We feel a little bit behind sometimes when it comes to making money because of who we are and our skin color. So we have to make those hard decisions sometimes. And sometimes it's where you live. So if you can take a second and kind of think about that, am I living in a space where I'm allowing myself to grow financially, where I'm allowing my family to grow in general? If you're not, then it might be time to review that. And the new year is probably one of the best times to do it, because that's when you can find new places that are a little bit more affordable and will fit into the budget.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? Because we used to be, my husband is a Brooklynite, and we used to be New Yorkers. Mm-hmm. And we were paying an exorbitant amount of money for rent. And so when I had to convince my husband to move to Pittsburgh, and I'll never forget, we rented this house that was out in the suburbs of Pittsburgh, and we're sitting out on the porch one night just looking at the stars, and he says to me, he says, I didn't know life could be this easy. And I'm like, yeah, I kept telling you that we were paying too much money. And definitely since we've moved here, you know, things have not, I cannot say that things have always been easy, but I can definitely say that life is a lot. We're able to coast now. We're able to save more money. We bought our first home when we moved here to Pittsburgh. If we had stayed in New York, I mean, the houses we were looking at were $425,000 and up for a mortgage. I mean, it was just, and I thought to myself, living there, like, there's just no possible way that we'll ever be homeowners. And my husband at the time was making good money, but just the amount of money you have to put out for rent. And then people don't realize, like, your car insurance goes up. There are, you know, those red light cameras in New York City will kill your budget. Yeah. Especially as somebody who's not used to it. I'm like, oh, I'm going through the yellow, I'm good. Next thing I know, I got a $150 ticket in the mail. Yep. I'm like, this can't be life, you know? So you know, you're telling the truth. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that they're going to have to make themselves so uncomfortable. But just to, you know, one of the things in the Brown Mama mindset is accountability. You've got to be accountable for yourself. If you're not being accountable for yourself, for your money, your babies, all of that, then you're likely reaping all of that non-accountability in your financial and your material life. And so that's just what's real. Yeah. Nicole had a question, and we'll take a brief second and answer it, because it's kind of not why we're here, sis, but I'll answer it. She asked, let me read because my phone is messed up a little bit. It says, how can this love through transparency message be, it says, imparted to our young moms to empower our babies? To young moms. Yes. You want to give a stab at it, Amiyrah?
Sure. Okay. So this is super interesting with the generation that's coming in after us, is that they do respond so well to transparency. We can see it in the artists, the music artists that they're loving, and the shows that they're watching, that the fact that we can go to them and say, this is how life really is right now. These are the things that I have decided that I'm going to do for my family, and show them day to day. I feel like teen moms, especially, because I see that's really what the question is. If we want to be able to guide them in the way that they need to be guided, and show them that their age isn't a big factor when it comes to them wanting to build something for their children, no matter how young they are, the more they'll respond to us. So I that's that barrier. And I know, I mean, Muffy said it so brilliantly. In our society, especially in our culture, we have this thing where we just don't want to share. where we don't want to seem like our vulnerability is something that is weak, because we have to be strong. That's literally what we're taught, who we're called all the time, strong Black women. But opening up and showing that this is how my day is today. This is how I'm going to come back from it if it is a bad day. This is how I plan for my kids to know that their mom loves them. And if I'm a working mom, whether you're a teen mom or not, this is what happens when I got to leave the house and make money. And I come home, and they should know, you should tell your kids, this is why I leave you. I leave you so that way I can build this for you. I leave you because I want to make sure that you are in a position where you're not worrying about what you're going to eat the next day, or you're not worrying about being a little Black boy in America. And your mom is showing you that you can work hard and you can create the life that you want. I'm working because I don't just want to take care of you. I want to take care of your children. That's really what my husband and I are working on. We're working on legacy in general.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about that as much as possible. And I do till my face is blue. And I know people roll their eyes because I talk about it so much. But there are people who are watching us. There are young moms that are watching us. And they want to know, am I going to be okay? And what steps do I need to make? And they don't need you to do it in a 10-step blog post. They don't need you to look all pretty on a video. They need to see it in your Instagram stories, on your Facebook, when you're tweeting things out. And especially at that age, they need a mentor that they can look at from afar. And the only way you're going to mentor them is if you show them by example. So hopefully that answered it.
I agree 100%. And I think what happens in our society, like you said, the younger folks are so transparent, and oftentimes it's us older folks who are not showing up with the transparency. And so because we're not showing up with the transparency, it leaves so much on the table, you know, and they don't really get to see what's going into living a real life, because they get to see the glamour behind, you know, Rick Ross's latest video, and they really think that that's life. But they don't get to see the vast majority of people who are out here every day, whether they're working or not, getting up, trying to build something in their community, getting up, trying to build something for their families, build legacy, and build ties, put down roots really in their communities, and how much hard work that is. And I think oftentimes we forget to so much. One of the worst things I remember when I first started Pittsburgh Brown Mamas, I used to correct people a lot when I would hear people on Facebook say, single women in particular say, you know, I'm having a great life because I ain't got no kids. And I would say, well, why is that such a bad thing? You know, we have to stop the stereotyping around motherhood. We have to stop making motherhood something that is demonized and that people are afraid of. And we have to start showing people that, because the reality is, I always like to say, like, prepare your kids for the 50-50 situation that is real.
Right.
The 50-50 situation that is real is they may have a child before they are quote unquote ready.
Right.
So if that is the case, especially as an African American, why do we wait until the baby is born to say, okay, this is how you feed a baby a bottle. This is how you change their diaper. This is what you need to do to prepare them to go to daycare, whatever. We need to begin making those preparations. And that's not to say that we normalize parenting before, you know, a person is ready, but it is to say that it's important that we realize that we teach our children the importance of good parenting.
Right.
Like, if you didn't have a good parent, where would you be right now? So it's important that you realize that parenting is a responsibility. It is something that is a blessing that is put upon your life. And there will not be you will not get another opportunity as a human being to have that big of an effect on a person as you will as their mother, as their father.
Exactly.
You know, that they're hands down. People will ask me, who's the most influential person in your life? My mother and my father. There hasn't been anybody else more influential in my life. And so we just have to begin to let that, in journalism and broadcasting, they call it the third veil. We've got to begin to let that third veil down and just like be real.
Yeah.
Like, this is what's going on in my life. I'm not perfect, but you know, check me a generation from now.
Right.
And let's see how that's going down. So I wanted to talk a little bit about homeschooling because it's crazy, Amirah. I've been getting so many inboxes about homeschooling this week. Like people have been inboxing, what do I need to do to homeschool? I'm like, okay, slow down, hold on. You need to let me digest. So I wanted to ask you because it's interesting. A lot of times when you hear about homeschooling, it's parents in distress over racism. But I think that I like to always remember and tell people Black people are not a monolith. We all have different reasons why we do things. Some people may decide to homeschool because they live in a bad school district and they may send their kids back to school the following year. Some people may homeschool because they're like, I just reject this altogether and I don't want to do it. So can you tell us a little bit about why you started homeschooling and, are you still doing it? And what are your plans in terms of homeschooling? Like, what do you like? What do you not like? All that jazz.
Well, we are still homeschooling. Actually, the kids start on Monday. And the 4-year-old will start homeschooling now too. So all 3 of them will be homeschooling. That's going to be interesting to say the least. But we started homeschooling mostly because of our oldest. He has ADHD. So when he was in the school system, obviously we went through all the channels. We got all the letters, and the school was supposed to do the things that they were supposed to do by law. We were noticing that they decided that was optional to them for some reason. Mm-hmm. So that was a big issue with them. And we spoke to them many times. We spoke to the teachers. And then we started to notice that because of them deciding not to teach our child the way that he was supposed to be taught, all of these issues were starting to come up. So he was all of a sudden being seen as a troublesome child, or involved in situations where he would never be involved in. And we knew who he was as a person and who he was at school and at home. And we were like, this isn't adding up. So my husband and I really started to have serious conversations about homeschooling. My husband comes from a family of teachers. So he believes very much in the school system, and all of his family members are the teachers. Like, you have that teacher that you remember when you were in school and you go, oh my God, that was my favorite teacher. Those are the Martins, all around, and the Hamids too. His aunt, her married last name is Hamid. So those are the people you always remember. So that's what he grew up with. So school system was his jam. So it took us about 2 years to finally be on the same page for homeschooling. And then I just said, you know what, just trust me. This is the curriculum. This is what we're going to do. I promise you he will learn. And then once I was able to give him all the information and have him feel comfortable enough with it, we took our son out of school. Now, you did mention having racist interactions and how sometimes that is a catalyst. That was a catalyst for us as well. We found out indirectly that one of the children on my son's school bus was calling all of the African American children the N-word, and we were never notified about it. So that was pretty much the last straw. We had already decided that we were going to give this a go, but that was the last straw. We were like, okay, we're making the right decision now that this has come out, and we weren't even notified that this is something that child was saying on the school bus repeatedly throughout the school year. So that pretty much reminded me that, you know what, I have a son, a Black son who loves science. He wants to be a scientist. Teaching him enough of it at school. We have the opportunity to teach him whatever he wants at home and really sow into him. Let's give this a try. Let's do it. So that's really where we're coming from with homeschooling, is that we want to give our children a chance to really deep dive into whatever they're passionate about, because our kids tend to know what they like very soon, yes, in life. And if they're saying, Mom, I'm really passionate about art, which is my daughter, she is a fanatic about anything artistic. And if we have the opportunity to do that, to really sow into them and help them develop that skill, that craft, then we have to give it a try. And we decide every year. Like, this is every year we decide if we're going to continue. Family discussion, and the kids say, do they want to go back to traditional school? Or they want to continue with homeschool? It's a family thing. It's not something that we force upon them. And we love that about it as well, is that it is that flexibility of you and your kids deciding what they feel best is for them. So we love it. We really love it. We hope we can continue to do it, but really it's up to them every year. So we just have to be there and be teachers when they want us to be teachers.
It's interesting because my oldest son, so he is we didn't start homeschooling him until he was in the 9th grade. And so this year I was like, man, I don't know if I want to write a diploma. So earlier this summer, I was like, yo, it's time for you to go back to school. Like, you need to consider this. But I started, actually, she was my first podcast guest, Akilah Richards. She came to Pittsburgh and I heard her speak and like something just clicked in me. Like, this isn't my choice. I can't make this choice for him. He has to make the choice. So we actually did the same thing you did. We sat down with him and had a conversation. Do you want to go back? And we're going to give you the summer to decide. And he ended up doing an internship at Phipps, which is the local conservatory here, over the summer. And he's like, Mom, I really don't want to go back. He's like, I can learn so much. So he's going to work there actually during the school year. But he was like, I learned so much in this internship. And he's a builder by nature. He likes to build. He likes to work with his hands. So he's very happy in the garden. And after meeting Akilah and doing a little bit of research and reading some books about unschooling, I really started to discover that my kids were already telling me what they were interested in. It was just up to me to be a facilitator. And like you said, kids, just spending some time witnessing my children, what I found was my youngest son was always reading books about animals. Like every time we would go to the library, he would like have a pile of books this big about animals, never prompted. I was never like, oh, dolphins are good today. He just was like, this is what I want to read about. So it's really just about homeschooling is really a journey of getting to know your children.
Yeah.
And when you get to know your children, you really can start to, you can be able to facilitate their education, but it's not necessarily like a lot of people will always ask me like, how do you homeschool? And I'm like, I just kind of help them.
Yeah.
Like it, and my children are no longer, because I've spent so much time with them, my children are no longer a burden to my lifestyle. Like they fall into place just like I fall into place in our household. It's no longer like, oh, you're bothering me, because it's like, all right, we can work this out together. And I used to talk a long time ago about, especially with my oldest son and my middle son, like I used to have, like I have this line of mind check cards. And so they go with the Brown Mama Mindset book, but I had my son, he like put all the stickers on the back of the cards. I'm trying to, here we go, because some of them are new, but he like put all the stickers on the back of the cards for me. So I always just try to find ways to implement them into my business instead of them being a burden to my life. And I feel like if we would start to more so work with our children,
yeah,
then our children would become assets to our community, and they would gain skill sets that are so valuable, because ultimately how you teach your children how to work is by allowing them to play with you in business. Right. Because they play, and that's why there's this big maker movement going on, because adults are realizing that children learn through play. So the more you allow them to play with you in life, like he didn't know by putting those stickers on he's working. Like he's like, oh, it's stickers. Let me put the stickers on. This is fun. And he kept asking me, Mom, I need more stickers. I'm like, all right, cool. This is great. So, we just have to begin to be more open-minded about the way children learn. And that doesn't always mean, because I know that there are a lot of parents out there who will never homeschool, but just be open-minded and realize that if your child is at school and they're learning what somebody else wants them to learn for, 7 hours a day, how are they ever going to figure out what they want to be? Right. That's always my question is that. So Amirah, before we because we're almost done.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to, yes, we are almost done. So I wanted to, because I try not to make them too long, because girl, we'll sit on here and I'll talk to you for 2 hours.
I was gonna say, it's early for us. Like I figured we would.
It is, but I'm not trying. Look, we ain't trying to be on here for 2 and 3 hours. So I'm just going to ask you a few quick questions.
Okay.
And I'm just going to ask you these quick questions, and then we're going to be done. So my first question is, can you describe your motherhood journey in 3 words?
Oh, okay. Unexpected, connected, and joyful. I like that. Yeah.
Next question. What is the best piece of advice a Black mother has ever given you?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, this is okay. Your family is your family. That was my husband's grandmother. I used to talk to her pretty much every week. And that was something that she told me almost repeatedly, because I wanted our family to be like everybody else's. And I wanted to listen to everybody else. And she says, your family is your family. You decide what is important to your family. You decide what you all want to do to build your family. Stop listening to everybody else. You need to make a decision. You are the woman of the house. So that was it.
That's a great piece of advice. That's a really great piece of advice. And wait a minute, I didn't forgot my last question. Help me, mommy brain just attacked my whole head. What was my last question? Oh, so complete this sentence for right now, not for your lifespan, just for right now.
Okay.
So I am
on a journey that I never could have wished would happen to me. Woo! What?
Well, you had so many awesome things happen to you. Like, I'm not surprised that that's your sentence.
You're not getting quiet. That was a good one.
So that's awesome. So thank you, Amiyrah, for joining us on the Brown Mama Blueprint podcast. If you missed this, you'll have like the next 5 days to watch it. Then I'm going to delete it and move it to our YouTube channel so you can watch it there. And that's all I got for y'all. Thank you so much for joining. Y'all know me. I'm Muffy Mendoza, founder of Brown Mamas, which is a village for Black moms, created by a Black mom. This is Amirah Martin of fourhatsandfrugal.com. You can find her there. She is awesome. If you want to get advice on finances, she is awesome. If you need to find out what homeschooling your kids every day looks like, because she has like this woman, didn't you do like a spread for Lowry's? Like, this is the chick right here. So I'm telling you, like, seasoned salt, Target, Star Wars, she got you, but you just need to, like Shanae knows, go to ahead to fourhatsandfrugal.com and hook yourself up. And don't forget to get the Brown Mama mindset.
Right.
Anything else in there before we go?
No, thank you so much. This was like, I love us being able to connect again and chat, and I miss it. I miss seeing you over on the scope, and I miss us talking together, just having our little conversation. So this was a blast from the past, and I love seeing the platform that you have built. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You are amazing, friends. So thank you so much for having me here on your platform to talk with your community.
No problem. Thank you. Y'all have a good evening, and I will talk to y'all later. Thank you, Amiyrah.
You're welcome,
bye. I don't even know how to close this out. Wait a minute. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, y'all. I will see y'all next. Wait, Elle is actually on here. She made the last comment, and she is going to be with me on August 29th. So that's not. So come back. Elle is a sickle cell advocate. She is also another awesome Black mom blogger who is over in the DMV, and she's going to be talking to us about her efforts with sickle cell. She's also going to be talking about her blogging journey, and she's a homeschooler just like me and Amiyrah. So I will see y'all next week, and well, not next week, the week after next. So bye bye.